Welcome to Buriram, the destination of speed for the season finale round of 2020 Formula 3 Asian Championship. The races are getting really intense with 3 championship contenders all fighting for the title. But before the race starts, let's have a quick look of last round highlight. 各位观众，欢迎和我一起来到五里南的枪国际赛车场。那么即将进行的是国际汽联亚洲3级方程式锦标赛最后一回合的决赛了。那么现在一共有3位车手共同争夺这个总冠军的这个位置。那么在比赛开始之前，先让我们回顾一下上一回合的精彩集锦。
Towards the end, I saw Joey starting to come. So the last 2 laps I tried to push because obviously thinking about for race 2 the starting position.
There they are, the red lights are on and now they're out and we're racing here at Sepang. Fittipaldi comes over to the middle of the track, but Joey Aldous makes a very good start.
And then in the last lap I tried to push to see what I had less, but no, it was good enough to keep everyone else behind, so that's all we had to do. Yeah, good weekend, you know, come here with a job to do, win all 3 races.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Buriram International Circuit in Thailand for round 5 of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship. This the final round of the 2020 season. We're here at Buriram, a 6-hour drive northeast of Bangkok, around 600 kilometers away from the capital. This fabulous facility, built in 2014, an FIA Grade 1 rated circuit, the only one in Thailand. It's hosted the Thailand MotoGP since 2017 and also hosted rounds of the Japanese Super GT Championship and the WTCC. So plenty of first-class racing action here at Buriram over the years, designed by the famed German architect Hermann Tilke, who designed all the other circuits on this 2020 F3 Asian calendar, the Sepang International Circuit, the Dubai Autodrome and the Yas Marina Circuit. As we look at the pole position man for today's race, Jack Doohan. This, as I said, the final round of the 2020 season, and the championship battle is really going down to the wire. Joey Alders, the Dutch driver, still leading with 215 points, but Jack Doohan on pole position today, just behind him with 200 points. Remember, 25 points available for a win and 3 races still to come this weekend, so 75 points at stake. And Jack Doohan now just 15 points behind Joey Alders. There is the second place man on the grid, Yu Kuai, the Chinese driver, his best grid position of the year so far in that very distinctive Ayrton Senna-inspired helmet of his. But up at the front of the championship, all eyes on Joey Alders, who qualified down the order in 5th position. He's not usually that far down. He's usually there or thereabouts at the front. And Jack Doohan on pole position, and with 3 wins from 3 last time out at Sepang in Malaysia. An absolutely perfect weekend for the 17-year-old Australian driver. And he really does appear to have the wind in his sails as we head to Buriram for this final round of the championship season. There is Joey Alders in 5th position on the grid. The Dutch driver has been leading the championship ever since the first round in Sepang. 2 race wins and a 3rd place in round 1. And has been leading the championship ever since, but he saw his lead slashed hugely last time out in Sepang. Jack Doohan winning those 3 races, and Joey Alders with 2 second places and a 7th place in the round in race 11. There we are. There is confirmation of the championship standings. Joey Alders leading on 215 points. Jack Doohan second with 200. Nikita Mazepin in 3rd place. The Russian driver still mathematically in with a chance of the title. He's 51 points behind Joey Alders, and there are still 75 points at stake. But on current form, it's going to be quite unlikely. Mazepin realistically will have to win all 3 races and hope that Joey Alders and Jack Doohan slip up. And in the team's championship, it could not be closer at the top. Pinnacle Motorsport and Black Arts Racing tied on 296. Absolute Racing in 3rd place on 212, and High Tech in 4th on 199. Very, very competitive between all of the teams here. Fantastic to see such close racing so far into the season, and it really is squeaky bum time now here at Buriram. Joey Alders then leading the championship. Jack Doohan in 2nd place. And let's head down to the grid now and hear more from Feline.
Hi, Jack. So starting from pole position, do you think you will this position will give you some advantage for this overall championship? And what will be your approach for this race?
Yeah, same as last weekend. Obviously starting from pole again. So yeah, take advantage of what we've done in qualifying and yeah, go for the win. Maximum points is all we can do, so yeah, just go with race by race and yeah, not really focusing on the championship too much now.
那么刚刚呢，我问到 Jack， 他从这个头位发车会不会给他在整个积分榜的排名给他一些优势呢？他说的确是他在排位赛中做出了一个很好的发挥，让他能拿到这个头位发车的好的位置。那么他也希望能得到冠军呢，在积分榜的拿到更多的一个分数。不过他说呢，他也会一场比赛的比，不会更多的去考虑这个总积分的问题。Back to you guys.
Well, Jack Doohan certainly does seem to be very, very focused. We heard him there, his comments after winning the 3 races last time out in Sepang. He didn't seem too elated by that, but maybe he's just got the bit between his teeth, and all he wants to do is overhaul Joey Alders and take the 2020 F3 Asian Championship title. Joey Alders in 3rd place, the Dutch driver with 4 wins so far this season, and Jack Doohan with 5 wins. So the 2 drivers have won, between them, 9 of the 12 races that we've had so far this year. So the 2 of them really dominating at the front. Nikita Mazepin in 3rd place with 1 win so far to his name. He's there more by the dint of consistency than anything else. He's finished every race well up in the points and does have an outside chance of the title, but it does look as if it's between Joey Alders and Jack Doohan. And back down to Feline now.
So Joey, now you're starting from P5. What will be your strategy for this race?
Yeah, so crucial for the championship to catch up to Doohan as quickly as possible. And from there on, the race pace is good, so it should be okay. I hope I don't lose too much time when overtaking the people between Juwen and I. But yeah, it's super good. I know what to do. Yeah.
那刚刚我问到 Joey 呢，因为他虽然现在是领跑7分宝，但是他今天呢是从第5位来发车。他说呢，的确是他没有拿到一个很好的位置，不过呢，他也希望能打到在这场比赛当中呢，能跑到一个更前面的位置呢，拿到一个更好的一个积分。Back to you guys.
So Joey Alders there sitting in 5th position on the grid today. Not somewhere he's accustomed to so far this year. He's usually well up the grid, but he's going to have to overtake Yu Kwai in 2nd place, Jamie Chadwick in 3rd place, and Pietro Fittipaldi in 4th place before he can even think about challenging Jack Doohan, his championship rival, who sits on pole position. All the tyres just being wheeled off the grid there, mechanics and engineers making their way back to the pit lane. And before long, we'll be underway here at Buriram for the first of 3 races this weekend. Each race half an hour long. Jack Doohan on the right of your picture. Yu Kwai on the left of your picture in 2nd position, his best qualifying position of the year. And he'll hope to finish the 2020 F3 Asian Championship on a high note. Very hot out there today, as you can see. No threat of rain, which is good to see. And let's head back down to Feline now, once more there on the grid.
So Jamie, start from P3 right behind Jack, and what will be your approach for this race?
I think main thing is get a good start and then see where we end up. I think we've got good pace, so hoping for a podium at least.
那么刚刚我问到呢 ，Jamie 呢，他自己对这场比赛怎么看？因为他是从第3位发车，而且在 Jack 的后面。他提到呢，他希望能在起步的时候有一个非常好的发挥，而且车辆现在性能是不错的。那么他也希望这次再次站上积分榜，再次站上这个领奖台。Back to you guys.
And Jamie Chadwick had her best weekend of the season last time out in Sepang, 2 third places and a 6th place, by far her best result. She, of course, did cross the line first in one of the races in round 3 at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi, but had that win cruelly taken away from her after she was adjudged to have jumped the start, which dropped her way down in the final classification. But a certain measure of vindication for Jamie Chadwick last time out in Sepang. She starts 3rd on the grid today, and she, as everybody else will be looking to finish the season on a high note. There is your pole position man, Jack Doohan, staring down the barrel there, visualizing his first move, visualizing the start, visualizing the first few corners. And just 17 years of age, but has shown himself to be a real talent so far. The son of the legendary motorcycle world champion Mick Doohan. But Jack, the 17-year-old Australian, clearly preferring his racing on 4 wheels rather than 2. There is Yu Kwai in the Zen Motorsport car in 2nd position on the grid, very well up, went very well in qualifying. And a thumbs up from Yu Kwai there, clearly happy to be so high up on the grid there. His best qualifying position of the season so far. Everybody almost off the grid now, and we'll have 1 formation lap around this Buriram International Circuit before the cars line up on their grid spots, and we'll get underway for 30 minutes of racing. It's a standing start here, as it is with a lot of open wheel racing. It's not a rolling start, as it is with GT racing, so they'll line up on their marks, and then when the red lights go out, off they go for 30 minutes of racing around this Buriram International Circuit. Everybody making their way off the track now. Nice bright sunshine here. Very hot out there today. I wonder if we might see some tyre trouble later on in the race. The curbs that you see on the outside of the towards the right-hand side of your picture there can be quite unforgiving at times, and if the drivers ride up too much, they might find that they end up damaging their tyres a little bit, and that won't do them any good at all. But we saw some fantastically close racing in the 3 races at Sepang last time out. Nobody tripping over each other. Lots of hard, firm, but fair racing. Everybody giving each other just enough room, just enough respect, but still charging hard, racing hard. Of course, they're all competitive and they all want to win and do well. And let's hope we see some good racing again here at Buriram. Off they go then for the formation lap. Jack Doohan leading everybody around. Yu Kwai behind him in 2nd place. And the rest of them all peeling off the grid now. You see them weaving from side to side there, desperately trying to get some heat into those tyres and brakes. There, confirmation that Jack Doohan is your pole position man in the Pinnacle Motorsport entry, and Yu Kuai, the Chinese driver, in second position on the grid. Third is Jamie Chadwick, well up again after a good showing last weekend. And Pietro Fittipaldi completes row 2 in the Pinnacle Motorsport entry. Championship leader Joey Alders, there he is in 5th position alongside Alessio De Leda in the high-tech, well up in row 3. Nikita Mazepin in 7th position. He's 3rd in the championship, still with an outside chance of taking the overall crown. And his teammate Ukio Sasahara completes row 4. Row 5, the Russian driver Mikhail Belov making his first appearance in the 2020 F3 Asian Championship, and Tommy Smith alongside him in 10th position. Next up is the Black Arts Racing entry of Yu Kanemaru in 11th position on the grid. Further down, Thomas Ludi and Paul Wong. These are the 2 Masters category drivers, and they're having their own private battle there. Thomas Ludi in 13th, Paul Wong in 14th position on the grid. Just 2 points separating Thomas Ludi and Paul Wong in the Masters category. All the focus is on the main Drivers' Championship, but there's also the Masters Championship. Thomas Ludi leading that at the moment with 179 points. Paul Wong, who missed last round at Sepang, but he's back here this weekend, 177 points. So Thomas Ludi taking the lead from Paul Wong after last round at Sepang. And the 2 of them having their own private battle in the Masters category. 4.5 kilometers long, this Buriram International Circuit, a relatively short lap, plenty of good overtaking opportunities. The right-hander at turn 1, the hairpin at turn 3, which is preceded by a very, very long straight, and the final corner at turn 12. And we've seen a lot of people struggling with track limits there at the moment so far this weekend. And they'll want to be careful that they don't exceed that white line too much, because the stewards and the race director will take a dim view of that. If they do that too often, they may be running the risk of receiving a penalty of some description. But here is Jack Doohan. They're just a little bit of a burnout, trying to get some heat into those tyres. There he is. You get a wonderful impression of just how hard the drivers are working there, where you see their hands going from left to right, and Jack Doohan's really putting the tail out there, trying to heat up his rear tyres before he pulls up on the grid. Of course, on pole position, he's the one that's going to be sitting there for the longest while he waits for all the other cars to come round, and he doesn't want his tyres and brakes to go cold while he does that. But there he is, Jack Doohan on the right-hand side, taking his pole position. Yu Kuai alongside him in 2nd position. Jamie Chadwick in 3rd place, and Pietro Fittipaldi alongside her on row 2 in that distinctive red car. Some of these cars look very, very similar, and it's hard to tell who's who from a distance, but there's certainly no mistaking Pietro Fittipaldi in that very distinctive red car in 4th position. All the cars lining up, the tail enders just lining up in their slots now. Watch for the lights, they're going to go on soon, and when they go out, we go racing here at Buriram. Everybody in their grid slots now. Engines revving, lights on, lights off, and we are underway in Buriram, and a brilliant start from Jack Doohan. Look at that, already streaking away into the lead, but look at Jamie Chadwick challenging Yu Kuai as they come round this first right-hander. Chadwick takes the position, but has to go a little bit wide, and Chadwick takes 2nd position. This is the long straight there. This kink is turn 2, but it's absolutely flat out. And look at the lead that Jack Doohan has already. Fantastic start from the Australian, but further behind, there's plenty of action there. Jamie Chadwick going defensive, trying to keep Yu Kuai behind. And is that Joey Alders on the outside? Yes, it is. Joey Alders, the number 23 car, up into 3rd place and challenging. Is he going through? He has the inside line for this left-hander here. Joey Alders in 3rd place, just inside Jamie Chadwick. Let's see if the Dutch driver can take that 2nd position as they go through the left-hander. Joey Alders there, Chadwick on the outside, and Joey Alders up into 2nd position, and that is vital for the Dutchman's championship hopes. He started 5th, and he had to get into 2nd place as quickly as possible. It looks like Mazepin has got into 3rd place as well, so Jamie Chadwick crowded out a little bit down into 4th place. Yu Kuai, it looks as if, has lost out there as well, a bit further down the field. I can see Fittipaldi ahead of him. Looks like Fittipaldi is into 6th or 7th position. Yu Kanemaru, I think, is ahead of Fittipaldi. But significantly for this race and for the championship, Joey Alders has made it up from 5th to 2nd position. And now he can set about trying to overtake, or trying to catch and then trying to pass Jack Doohan. He's already got a little bit of a lead over Mazepin in third place, but as they come around to to finish the first lap, it's Jack Doohan in the lead, and there's trouble at the back there. One of the cars stationary on the final corner. Didn't quite see who that was, and that is that's the number 11 car. The number 11 car of Ukyo Sasahara, and a bit of dust there being kicked up, and I think I saw one of the cars darting into the pit lane, so I wonder if Sasahara has had a bit of a tangle with somebody at the last corner there. Looks as if he's got going, but I don't know if he's got damage. He certainly looked as if he was going fairly slowly there. Fittipaldi there going up the inside of Yu Kuai, but the Chinese driver still hanging on around the outside there. They're side by side as they go on this long straight. This is the kink at turn 4 before the left-hander, the double left-hander at turns 5 and 6. Jamie Chadwick getting very close behind Mazepin. That's the battle for third place, but Jack Doohan still in the lead. Joey Alders up into second position, and that is certainly what he would have wanted from his opening couple of laps, Joey Alders, to close the gap to Jack Doohan, who is fairly streaking away at the front of the field. 2.3 seconds the gap already, but a good first lap from Joey Alders, making up those 3 places. Mazepin in third place, Jamie Chadwick in 4th, Alessio De Leda well up in 5th position, and Yu Kanemaru 6th. Fittipaldi down to 7th. There he is, the red car, in 7th place, and Yu Kuai has actually got ahead of Fittipaldi there, so in this lap, Fittipaldi's now down to 8th, Yu Kuai in 7th place, Mikhail Belov in 9th, and Tommy Smith in 10th place. And as they go through to complete lap 2, Jack Doohan, a new fastest lap of the race, a 1:33.0, and the gap now between him and Joey Alders is 2.7 seconds. Joey Alders there, you can see that is Jack Doohan. Already a fairly commanding lead after 2 laps of this race as he goes through the left-hand hairpin at turn 3. Joey Alders in second place, and that is Jamie Chadwick there, having a battle with Alessio De Leda, the Italian driver. Jamie Chadwick there holding on to 4th place, just falling behind Nikita Mazepin a little bit. Mazepin now well in 3rd position, sandwiched between Joey Alders and Jamie Chadwick, who's having a look up the inside there because Alessio De Leda has got past Jamie Chadwick as they go on that long back straight there after turn 1. Or after turn 3, excuse me. That is the double left-hander. Now this is turn 6 and 7, the left-right complex in the middle of the circuit, and Jamie Chadwick now down into 5th position. There she is in the number 15 car. Alessio De Leda, the Italian, up into 4th. That's his best showing so far of the season. Alessio De Leda, his best finish so far, an 8th place finish. So the Italian driver well up in the early stages of this race. 25.5 minutes still to go. Plenty of racing here, and lots of drivers still very close together at the back of the pack there. That is 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and Yu Kuai going a little bit wide there, locking up. I wonder if he meant to go into the pits there or if he just ran a little bit wide. No, there he is. He's rejoining the track, but he'll have lost a few positions there. It's not been a good opening few laps for Yu Kuai, who began the race obviously in 2nd position. He's now down in 10th place. Dear oh dear, not a good start for Yu Kuai, and that's a great shame for the Chinese driver after such a good start. But here we are on the long back straight. This is the longest straight on the circuit. There is a slight kink there in the middle of it, which is considered to be turn 2, but it's absolutely flat out. And then that is the 16 car of Tommy Smith locking up there. This the hardest braking point on the circuit, the 180-degree tight right-hander at turn 3. Plenty of good overtaking opportunities there, and lots of runoff here at this Buriram International Circuit. It's quite a new circuit, built in 2014, and lots of the new circuits that have been built in the last 10 or 15 years or so have a lot of tarmac runoff there. You can see there, as Jack Doohan just negotiates the left-hander, just how much tarmac runoff there is. And of course, that does mean that if drivers end up going off track for whatever reason, they don't get beached in the gravel and they're able to rejoin the race. No such problems like that so far for Jack Doohan. He's continuing on his merry way. 3 seconds the lead between him and Joey Alders at the last count. And this is turn 12. Very tight right-hander. And a good overtaking spot that as well. But as Jack Doohan crosses the line to begin lap 5, he's now 3.6 seconds ahead of Joey Alders, and a new fastest lap of the race for Jack Doohan. as Fittipaldi there going up the inside of Yu Kanemaru, I think, and that is the battle for 6th place. Fittipaldi on the inside, and no, that's the Russian driver 57, Belov. So that's the battle for 7th position. Fittipaldi and Belov having their own private battle there as they go along this long back straight. That kink there, that is turn 2. Fittipaldi on the inside as they come to the right-hander there. Hard braking here for this turn 3 hairpin, and Belov hanging it all the way around the outside. The Russian driver giving no quarter there. Fittipaldi nudging him over the white line, but the Russian driver certainly not giving up there, and the two of them still absolutely together side by side as they come down the straight towards this kink at turn 4. And the three of them there now, that is Tommy Smith joining the party as well. So this is 7th, 8th and 9th, absolutely together with 22 minutes and 40 seconds still to go. Great to see the cars racing so closely and so competitively a little bit further down the field. Fittipaldi now the meat in that Belov and Smith sandwich, that distinctive red car there. Tommy Smith looked as if he got a bit of a run there, and well, Tommy Smith, the Australian driver, just locking up his front right tyre there. That won't do him any favours at all. But Mikhail Belov, the Russian driver, in his first appearance of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship season, currently running in 7th position, keeping Pietro Fittipaldi behind him, and having a very solid debut outing in this year's championship. At the front, it's still Jack Doohan completing another lap. That's lap 5 now. 4.2 seconds ahead of Joey Alders, and his last lap 0.6 of a second quicker than the Dutch driver. So Jack Doohan continuing his domination, continuing where he left off from those 3 wins out of 3 in Sepang in the last round. And Jack Doohan really does appear as if he has the momentum with him at the moment. He's still behind Joey Alders in the championship, and incidentally, if the results today stay as they are, Joey Alders will still be leading the championship. But Jack Doohan will have taken another 7 points out of his lead. So Joey Alders' lead will be down to 8 points with 2 races still to go. Fantastic to have such close racing so deep into the championship. This, of course, the final round, remember, of the 2020 season. 5 rounds during the championship and 3 races at each round. This is the first race of 3 this weekend, race 13, in the overall season. 15 races altogether. We've got race 14 and race 15 tomorrow. And it looks as if the championship is going to go absolutely down to the wire, down to race 15, the last race of the 2020 season. And fantastic to have such close racing. There is Joey Alders in 2nd place. There is Nikita Mazepin in 3rd place. And the Russian driver just closing up a little bit on Joey Alders at the last count. Jack Doohan now some 4.6 seconds ahead. The gap between Alders and Mazepin 1.2 seconds, so pretty stable in the top 3 drivers. Alessio De Leda still in 4th place, well up ahead of Jamie Chadwick, who is in 5th place after starting 3rd. Yu Kanemaru, the Japanese driver, in 6th position. Belov, the Russian, still in 7th. And a very close battle further down the field between Kanemaru, Belov and Fittipaldi. That's the battle for 6th, 7th and 8th. The 3 of them absolutely together. There they are, in fact. And that is Belov having a look up the inside of Yu Kanemaru. The 2 teammates there. They won't want to trip over each other, or that could be a rather awkward conversation for their team mechanics and engineers when they get back to the pit lane. But nevertheless, close, hard, but fair racing so far as we take a look at Nikita Mazepin, who is still in 3rd position, the number 3 car in position number 3. And he's been a consistent performer so far in this championship, Nikita Mazepin. 1 win to his name back in race 7, the first of 3 races at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. But Nikita Mazepin, plenty of points finishes. He's not finished lower than 5th all season long. He's finished every race, been very consistent, and that consistency sees him still with an outside chance of the 2020 F3 Asian Drivers' Championship. But of course, if he's going to have any hope of winning that, then realistically he needs to be winning these 3 races, and he needs Jack Doohan and Joey Alders to be finishing well out of contention. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen at the moment, because Jack Doohan, with just over 1/3 of this race having been completed, Jack Doohan still with a commanding 4.6 second lead over Joey Alders, who is in 2nd position, and Nikita Mazepin in 3rd place, ahead of Alessio De Leda, Jamie Chadwick in 5th, And Mikhail Belov, the Russian driver, up into 6th place, having overtaken Yu Kanemaru, his Black Arts Racing teammate, with Pietro Fittipaldi in 8th place. There is Fittipaldi just locking up a tyre there, and he's under pressure now from Kanemaru. So Fittipaldi must have got past Kanemaru. We didn't see that, but must have got past Kanemaru perhaps at turn 1, but the Japanese driver trying to make his way back past the Brazilian driver. Yu Kanemaru, another driver with 1 win so far to his name, an absolutely dominant performance in race 6 back in January in Dubai. Yu Kanemaru, the Japanese driver, winning by an astonishing 20-second margin, absolutely dominant from the Japanese driver in race 6 in Dubai. Possibly the most dominant win that we've seen so far in the championship, certainly in terms of margin of victory. But he's found it going a little tougher through the rest of the season. But he finished 3rd in race 12 at Sepang. That was his first podium finish since his win in Dubai. And Kanemaru currently showing in 7th position between Belov and Fittipaldi, as Jack Doohan starts another lap, lap 9. Still keeping the gap very consistent. 4.8 seconds now, the gap between Jack Doohan and Joey Alders. And Joey Alders 1.4 seconds ahead of Mazepin, who is some 2.8 seconds ahead of Alessio De Leda, still holding on to that 4th position. The Italian driver well up. This is by far his best showing in the 2020 season. Doing well to keep Jamie Chadwick just behind him there. And here is the battle for 4th place. That is De Leda there, the number 10 car, just ahead of Jamie Chadwick. De Leda taking a bit of a wider line through that turn 3. This is a fairly wide circuit, the Buriram International Circuit, and these F3 cars obviously quite a bit smaller than some of the open wheel cars further up the racing ladder, like those in Formula 1, those in Formula 2, those in the Japanese Super Formula Series, which Pietro Fittipaldi will be competing in later on this year, in addition to continuing his duties as reserve driver for the Haas F1 team. Nikita Mazepin also has experience as an F1 test driver for the Racing Point team. So plenty of young drivers here eager to make their way up the racing ladders, and some with already some very interesting experience. And we're getting to the time of year now where it's worth looking at what the drivers are doing next. One of the great things, one of the great advantages of this 2020 F3 Asian Championship is that by February, well, by tomorrow, in fact, the championship will be concluded. And that means that all the drivers have a chance to then start another championship in the European summer. The European season of racing typically doesn't get started until about April. It's far too cold to be racing in Europe, in many places in Europe anyway, in these January and February winter months. Obviously, no such problems here in Thailand, no such problems at Sepang, no such problems at Dubai or in Abu Dhabi. And that allows all these drivers then to finish the F3 Asian Championship season and then take in another championship. And that, of course, gives them the chance to accumulate super license points from 2 championships within a single year. If you want to get to Formula 1, the pinnacle of open wheel motorsport, you have to have an FIA super license. And you get one of those by accruing super license points through each of the junior categories of racing that you compete in. And with this series concluding tomorrow, already in February, that gives the drivers the chance to compete in another championship. And already several of them have got their plans sorted. Nikita Mazepin, who's already raced in the FIA Formula 2 Championship, the step below F1, he'll be racing in F2 again with his Hi-Tech team. Hi-Tech making the step up to F2 for this year. Jack Doohan, who is leading this race, he will make his debut in the FIA Formula 3 Championship, and he'll be joined there by Alessio De Leda, who will be taking part in the FIA F3 Championship for a second season. Jamie Chadwick, meanwhile, the reigning W Series champion, that is the all-female category. She'll be continuing in the W Series for a second year, and she will also be deepening her role with the Williams F1 team. She's a Williams F1 development driver, and it was confirmed earlier this year that she would be increasing her role and responsibility with the Grove-based squad. Joey Alders, the current championship leader, he has designs on racing in Europe, but no concrete plans as yet. But he'll certainly have a better chance of getting a decent slot somewhere by winning this championship, and he's currently ahead there. There is Joey Alders going through your picture now, still in second position. Nikita Mazepin still in third place. And this, look at this, Jamie Chadwick challenging and going through into fourth position. So Chadwick up into fourth place, Deleda down to fifth, and Belov and Fittipaldi joining the party as well. It looks like Deleda forced slightly wide there. Belov going up the inside. This the battle now for fifth place, but Deleda managing to hold on to that position, and the three of them absolutely together there. Deleda, Belov and Fittipaldi, that's the battle now for fifth position. The three of them there going at it, hammer and tongs, each on each other's gearboxes. Jamie Chadwick up into fourth place and has just pulled out a little bit of a gap there over Deleda, who had to go defensive there to keep Belov behind him. But look at this, Fittipaldi having a look up the inside of Belov as they go through the last corner. Belov looked as if he just was struggling to stop in time there, but just managed to make it stick. But look at Fittipaldi getting good drive off turn 12. I wonder if the Brazilian driver is going to have a look up the inside of turn 1 here. No, not quite close enough for a look just yet. But Fittipaldi in seventh place, Belov in sixth position. And look at Fittipaldi now, really behind Belov. Looks as if he got much better drive off turn 1. And that's absolutely vital, because this long straight here, this is the longest point of full throttle on the circuit. I think Fittipaldi is going up the inside. There he is, but Belov still hanging it around the outside. Fittipaldi to the inside, the two of them side by side as they go through the right-hander at turn 3. Belov still hanging on there, side by side again as they go on this long straight. And Belov now has the inside line for the left-hander at turn 4, the kink that then turns into the double left at 5 and 6. And Belov still hanging it on the inside, Fittipaldi on the outside, and Fittipaldi makes it stick. So Fittipaldi takes that position back, but Belov still trying, still as they go around the double left-hander. Took a little bit too much curb there, and I think Fittipaldi has the position for the time being. So the Brazilian up into 6th position, Belov down to 7th, but a good showing from the Russian. Certainly a very competitive driver on this, his first showing in the 2020 F3 Asian Championship. Fittipaldi in 6th, Belov in 7th, Tommy Smith down to 8th position, Yu Kanemaru in 9th, and Yu Kwai down in 10th position after starting 2nd on the grid, but getting crowded out, having a bad couple of laps. Poor old Yu Kwai down in 10th place, and that's not where he will have wanted to be after starting so high up the grid. But Jack Doohan still leading the race, 4.9 seconds now, the gap between Doohan, the Australian driver, and Joey Alders in 2nd place, his championship rival, as we look now at Yu Kanemaru and Yu Kwai running in 9th and 10th positions. So Jack Doohan still leading, Joey Alders in 2nd place. There is Jack Doohan, your race leader, and you can see how big the gap is. Look how much of a lead Jack Doohan has as he goes through the turn 4 left-hander kink there, 4.9 seconds over Joey Alders. And I think Jack Doohan really has the measure of Joey Alders and the rest of the field today. He's not really pushing too hard, and he doesn't need to. He's got a comfortable lead, and I should think he's just managing that gap and bringing the car home. 2/3 of the race gone, 1/3 of the race still to go, 10 more minutes. And Jack Doohan looking very comfortable out front, not looking flustered, not locking up, not running wide, just doing everything he needs to do, holding on to that position and maintaining the gap between him and Joey Alders in 2nd position. Nice bright sunshine here at Buriram. No danger of any rain. It's not really the rainy season at the moment. The rainy season in this part of the world, in Southeast Asia, does tend to happen more in the European summer. They don't really have summer and winter seasons here in Southeast Asia. It tends to be hot all year round, but split between a wet and a dry season, and this much more the dry season than the wet. And lots of nice bright sunshine today. No danger of this race being called off or postponed, or any of the drivers having to race in the treacherous wet conditions. Alessio Deleda there, this the battle for 5th place. The Italian driver still ahead of Pietro Fittipaldi, who seems to have had the measure of Belov, the Russian driver, for the time being, and he's challenging now Alessio Deleda. Is he going up the inside, feinting to the inside and then going back down to the outside? And I wonder if he was making a move there, or if he just wanted to make sure that Alessio Deleda's mirrors were full of that very strikingly liveried red car that Fittipaldi has. I'm sure Deleda doesn't need reminding. I'm sure he knows full well that Fittipaldi is all over the back of him, weaving this way and that, and trying to force Deleda into a mistake. But the Italian holding firm so far. This his best showing of the season so far. Deleda His previous best finish, an 8th place finish, and he's running in 5th at the moment. So a much better showing from De Leyde than in recent races. And here he is still holding off Pietro Fittipaldi, who's still trying every trick in the book to try to get past the Italian as they go through this double right-hander. This is lap 14. Jack Doohan still leading the race, and De Leyde going a little bit wide there, and that has let Fittipaldi have a look up the inside as they go through. This is the final corner. Fittipaldi's going to go up the inside. No, he's not. Tucking back in behind the rear wing of De Leyde. I wonder if he's going to go for a move up inside turn 1 here. De Leyde still crosses the line in 5th place. Fittipaldi right behind him in 6th, and Belov, look at Belov in 7th position now. The three of them absolutely together as they go through turn 1. Now this does seem to be a favourite spot of Fittipaldi. He's getting himself set. It looks as if he's got good drive. I wonder if he's going to get in the slipstream of De Leyde here as they go on this long back straight and then move to the inside. De Leyde goes to the inside, goes defensive. Fittipaldi is forced to go around the outside, but it looks as if he's got that move done. If he can stop the car in time, can he? Yes, he can. And he's just ahead of De Leyde there. So Fittipaldi, a good move there, up into 5th position, all the way around the outside of the Italian driver. He had better momentum off turn 1, and that gave him better top speed along that long back straight, and that allowed him to make a move around the outside of the Italian as they went through that turn 3 right-hander. But De Leyde, still a tough competitor, not giving up. And of course now he's got Belov to contend with behind him. So De Leyde, not only is he attacking, but he's got to defend as well. And look at Belov now, right on the gearbox of the Italian. And Fittipaldi does seem to be pulling away ever so slightly as they come through this sequence of corners in the middle of the track. Very flat track here at Buriram, not a great deal of elevation, feels a little bit like barreling around a kart track, but plenty of overtaking opportunities as we've seen already so far today. And De Leyde there going a little bit wide, and that was where Fittipaldi got right behind him on the previous lap, and of course that helped him get right up close behind him and set himself up for the overtake. As we look at Jack Doohan continuing on his merry way on lap 16 now, with 6.5 minutes of the race still to go. The gap still very consistent, 4.8 seconds between him and Joey Alders, who now has a 4.6 second lead over Nikita Mazepin. As De Leyde gets a little bit crossed up there, and I think Belov is going to get him. Yes, De Leyde just got a bit crossed up. That's completely ruined his momentum as he went onto that long back straight, and it was an easy pass for Belov now, who is up into 6th position and is now going to have Pietro Fittipaldi in his sights. So De Leyde down to 7th place after holding on to 4th place early on in the race, but then falling behind Chadwick, Fittipaldi and now Belov. So De Leyde, the Italian, now down to 7th place. That would still be his highest finish of the season so far as we look at Jamie Chadwick, who's in a very solid 4th place at the moment, 1.5 seconds behind Nikita Mazepin in 3rd place and 3.3 seconds ahead of Fittipaldi in 5th position. Chadwick's last lap, a 1:33.2, Mazepin a 1:33.6, so Chadwick taking 0.4 of a second out of the Russian on that last lap, and if she keeps going at that rate, Chadwick will catch Mazepin by the end of the race. The gap does look a little bit closer now, and let's see when they cross the line what that gap is. There is Mazepin with the very distinctive red helmet, Chadwick just behind him in 4th position, Fittipaldi 5th, Belov 6th, De Leyde 7th, Tommy Smith in 8th position. There is De Leyde braking hard down to the right-hander, the final corner at turn 12. And Chadwick taking another half a second out of Mazepin. So the gap now, it did look as if it was a bit closer, and the gap now down to 1.1 seconds between Mazepin in 3rd position and Chadwick in 4th place. There it is. There's the battle between the 3rd and 4th place cars as you just saw them go through your picture there. I should think with 4.5 minutes to go, that is going to be the real interest in the rest of the race, whether Jamie Chadwick can wrest that 3rd place from Nikita Mazepin. She's certainly catching him at the moment at a rate of half a second a lap as Jack Doohan continues in the lead. 4.6 seconds the gap between him and Joey Alders, very consistent from Jack Doohan, and that will be his 4th consecutive win in the 2020 F3 Asian Championship after his hat-trick of wins last time out in Sepang. And Jack Doohan really is the man to beat at the moment. And of course, if he wins with Joey Alders 2nd, then Joey Alders' championship lead will be down to just 8 points with 2 races still to run. And this championship really is going to go down to the wire. There is Jack Doohan, just over 3.5 minutes still to go. Jack Doohan brakes hard down to the turn 12 right-hander, back onto the start-finish straight to start lap 18. There is Joey Alders in the background, 4.8 seconds behind. And in the background there, that is the battle between Nikita Mazepin in third and Jamie Chadwick in fourth position. And the gap now down to 0.8 of a second. So Chadwick taking another 2 or 3 tenths of a second a lap out of Mazepin. Chadwick just chipping away at the Russians' lead. And with 3 minutes to go, it does appear as if Chadwick will be able to catch Mazepin. Whether she'll be able to pass him is another matter entirely. In motorsport, catching is one thing and passing is another thing entirely. But there is Jack Doohan, Joey Alders there in second position. Jack Doohan goes through the left-hander with 2 minutes and 40 seconds still to go. So around about 2 or 3 more laps, I would think. This is a timed race, so there's no set number of laps. It's simply however many laps have been completed after half an hour of racing. 2.5 minutes to go, and Jack Doohan still in the lead. Joey Alders still in second place, Mazepin still third, but being pushed harder and harder by Jamie Chadwick. Just 0.8 of a second the gap at the last count. Pietro Fittipaldi into fifth place. Mikhail Belov on his debut in sixth position. A good showing from the Russian driver. Alessio Deleda now down to seventh. Tommy Smith in eighth. Yu Kuai has got past Yu Kanemaru, so Yu Kuai in ninth place, and Yu Kanemaru, the Japanese driver, in 10th position. So Doohan crosses the line, starts another lap. Joey Alders crosses the line and starts another lap. Nikita Mazepin crosses the line, and the gap now is just 0.4 of a second between Mazepin and Jamie Chadwick, who has set her best lap of the race so far, a 1:33.0, Mazepin a 1:33.4. So Chadwick reeling in Nikita Mazepin, and it looks like she is going to catch him by the end of the race. I should think the next lap will be the last lap. We haven't had the last lap board yet, and we will do, I should think, on this lap. So Jamie Chadwick now has a real chance of catching and passing Nikita Mazepin and standing on the third step of the podium for the third time in 4 races, because Jamie Chadwick finished third twice last time out at Sepang, along with a 6th place finish. And she started third on the grid today, fell back down to 5th, but has made her way up to 4th and is now challenging Nikita Mazepin very hard indeed for that final podium place. Meanwhile, Jack Doohan still continuing on his merry way at the front. The gap now 5.8 seconds between him and Joey Alders in second place. The two of them seem to have settled. I don't think Joey Alders is pushing too hard. I think he's accepted that Jack Doohan is faster than him today and that he's got no chance of catching the Australian driver. And the last lap board there you can see being held up, so Jack Doohan crosses the line, and this is the last lap of the race. Lap 20, the last lap, nice round number, and Jack Doohan goes through the right-hander to start lap 20. Joey Alders just falling back a little bit now, 6.7 seconds the gap, but I suspect the Dutchman is just bringing it home. He's got a bit of an advantage over Nikita Mazepin, who's still holding on to that third place. The gap between him and Jamie Chadwick now just over half a second, so Mazepin taking a bit more time out, and Jack Doohan goes wide on the last lap of the race. Is he in trouble? Drama here in the last lap. It looks as if his left rear tyre, yes, he's got a puncture. Jack Doohan has a puncture on his left rear tyre. This is going to have a significant bearing on the championship. He's got to get all the way around to the... he's still leading the race, but look at the carcass there. He's got to get all the way around. Joey Alders is going to catch and pass Jack Doohan on the last lap of the race. Drama here at Buriram. Absolute heartbreak for Jack Doohan. There goes Joey Alders into the lead. Unbelievable climax to race 13 here in Buriram. Jack Doohan, who has led from pole position, led absolutely every lap, looked absolutely serene in the lead on the very last lap. Cruel luck for the Australian driver with a puncture there, but look at Joey Alders, who cannot believe his luck. He's been absolutely outclassed by Jack Doohan today so far, but that puncture has really been a hammer blow to Jack Doohan's championship chances and his chances of winning the race. I wonder if that has cost Jack Doohan the championship, because Joey Alders now coming through the last corner to win race 13 here at Buriram. What drama here on the last lap of the race. Now let's see, where is Jack Doohan? Has he managed to finish the race? Joey Alders takes the win. Mazepin finishes second. Chadwick finishes third. Fittipaldi is in fourth. Belov is in fifth. Jack Doohan is way down the order. Where is he? He's still not come through. Tommy Smith finishes in sixth place. Alessio De Leda finishes seventh. Is that Jack Doohan there? Just trundling around. Jack Doohan finishes in eighth position. Oh, what disappointment for the Australian driver who led every single lap from pole position, only to be denied by a puncture halfway through the last lap. And has that punctured his chances of winning the 2020 F3 Asian Championship? Bitter disappointment for Jack Doohan. Well, what drama here. It did appear as if Jack Doohan absolutely had the measure, not only of Joey Alders, but of everybody else here in Buriram today. And to be dealt that cruel blow, a puncture on the very last lap of the race, well, I can't imagine what he and his team must be feeling now, because Joey Alders really now is in the box seat for the championship. The Dutch driver inheriting that win. There is Joey Alders, the race winner. Well, it's difficult to put into words exactly what Jack Doohan and his team must be feeling. Absolutely dominating this race from start to finish, and then to have such a cruel blow. But motorsport is like that. To finish first you have to finish. And absolutely anything can happen in motorsport, and this race just proves that. You absolutely could not make this up. Cruel, cruel luck for Jack Doohan there. But the beneficiary very much of that was this man, Joey Alders. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck, and the Dutch driver had that today. Here he is on his victory lap. He'll peel into the pits now. And we will hear from Joey Alders very shortly indeed. But there he is, your race winner, in extremely unlikely circumstances. But Joey Alders takes victory here at Buriram in race 13. Jack Doohan classified way down in 8th position. Absolutely bitter, bitter disappointment for the Australian driver. There is Joey Alders pulling in. Nikita Mazepin did keep ahead of Jamie Chadwick, so Nikita Mazepin up into 2nd place now. And Jamie Chadwick, because of that puncture for Jack Doohan, Jamie Chadwick does indeed stand on the podium again in 3rd position. But, well, a nigh on unbelievable situation on the last lap of the race there. A cruel blow and bitter, bitter disappointment for Jack Doohan. As the car's there into Parc Ferme to be wheeled away. We'll hear from Joey Alders, the race winner, very shortly. But there is Mazepin receiving the congratulations from his team. A good solid drive from the Russian driver. And of course, when misfortune struck Jack Doohan, of course, Mazepin was there ready to inherit that 2nd position. So a good drive for the Russian driver there. So Joey Alders, your race winner. Nikita Mazepin in 2nd place. And Jamie Chadwick in 3rd position. That is your top 3. The gap by the end of the race between Joey Alders and Mazepin, some 4.6 seconds. And Jack Doohan, in the end, finishing in 8th place, 21 seconds behind Joey Alders. So the gap between Doohan and Alders as they started the final lap was about 6 or 7 seconds. So that puncture cost Jack Doohan in the region of about 30 seconds on that last lap. And that, well, that really has dealt a hammer blow to his championship chances, because he was so confident all weekend long, coming off the back of 3 wins out of 3 at Sepang. He really did look like the man with the wind in his sails, the man with the momentum, and the man who was ready to wrest the championship away from Joey Alders. But that puncture on the last lap has really, really affected his chances. So Joey Alders, the race winner, Nikita Mazepin in 2nd position. And Jamie Chadwick rounds out the podium places in 3rd position. Nikita Mazepin is there on the grid now, and he's talking to Feline. Let's hear how the race went from his point of view.
Wow, Nikita, what a dramatic race! And tell us about the start, and what about tell us also about the last lap.
Well, the start was quite interesting. Obviously, first race racing on this track, and it's interesting whenever you have long straights. So going down to turn 3, I managed to get a few cars in front, and that was good because the starting position originally was quite bad. Then the race was quite boring. I tried very hard to catch Joey and overtake him. My tires went off, and after that I was quite slow, and yeah, that let Jamie catch up to me. She got in front, and yeah, last lap was quite interesting. I want to have a look on the video myself, but it felt fun.
Thank you. 那么刚刚呢，我问到 Nikita 这场比赛感觉怎么样？他提到呢，因为他起步的时候其实是在一个比较靠后的位置，不过很幸运呢，在第一圈的时候能够拿到比较好的位置。不过后来呢，这个轮胎的性能慢慢开始衰减了，他也就是非常在后边呢，就和Jamie 之间呢Jamie 就追上来的比较紧，也给他很多的压力。不过最后一圈呢，真的是非常的有戏剧性，因为Jack Duhan就突然间爆胎了，让他拿到了这个第2名的一个成绩。他说他回去呢也要好好看一下这个视频。Back to you guys.
Well, a solid race from Nikita Mazepin, finishing in 2nd position, having started from 7th on the grid. A good battle between him and Jamie Chadwick in the last few laps of the race. Jamie Chadwick catching Mazepin but unable to pass him. And with the drama on the last lap involving Jack Doohan and that puncture, of course, that bumped everybody else up the order, allowing Mazepin to finish 2nd. And Jamie Chadwick finishing 3rd again after 2 third-place finishes last time out at Sepang. Jamie Chadwick once again stands on the podium. The British driver really finding her feet in the series. Joey Alders, the man of the moment. He only led 1 lap, but it was the only lap that he needed to lead. The last lap of the race. Joey Alders is your race winner, and let's hear from him now. He's down on the grid with Feline.
Joey, so what a dramatic race, and also you did a very good job in the beginning, right? And you got a P2 after you started from P5, and in the last lap, unfortunately, Jack lost his tire and made you really had a good result, right?
Yeah, we tried a different strategy in the qualifying, so that's why I was tied at P5. So yeah, the objective was to catch them as quickly as possible to fight with Doohan. Well, I got it P2 at the end of corner 3, the end of the straight. So that was good. First objective completed, and then yeah, we drove the same lap times I saw on my dash. I think my 15 lap times were within 0.2 of a second. So it was really consistent, that's what we had to do. And then on the final lap, he had a puncture, and they were screaming on the radio, "You got a puncture, you got a puncture." And yeah, I can see that right behind. And then, I mean, it's not fun. It's a thing that with motorsport, it's not fun for the championship. But I think we deserve it equally. So yeah, I'm happy with the win, although because we had a pace, we had a race pace, so all should be good. Two more races to go, and anything can still happen.
Thank you. 那么刚刚我问到 Joey 他这场比赛呢感觉怎么样？他提到呢，他是从第5位发车呢很幸运的开始的时候，因为他的团队呢有一个新的策略，所以他发车位置会比较靠后。那么之后呢，他也是追了上来，拿到了第2的位置。他对自己就是拿到第2的成绩其实也是很满意的，而且他看了自己的那个计时表，是自己的成绩其实和 Jack Doohan 的成绩下差的并不是很多。那么最后一圈的时候呢，结果Jack Doohan 爆胎呢，他的技师也是在这个 radio 里一直在喊他说啊，他爆胎了，其实他能看得到。那么呢，他说这个也就是赛车比赛了，任何事情都可能发生，还有2场比赛。那么让我们继续关注 ，Back to you guys.
Well, Joey Alders with a great big smile on his face, and as well he might, because he would certainly not have been expecting, I don't think, to be winning this race here, race 13, after how dominant Jack Doohan was, not only in qualifying but also in the race. He alluded there, the Dutch driver, to the fact that the lap times are very, very similar. He was just trying to keep the gap, and then obviously was there to take advantage when Jack Doohan had that misfortune. Confirmation there that Joey Alders winning the race, Nikita Mazepin in second place, Jamie Chadwick finishing third, Pietro Fittipaldi finished fourth in the end after a battle with Mikhail Belov, who took fifth, Tommy Smith finishing in sixth place, Alessio De Leda finishing down in seventh after being well up early in the race, Jack Doohan, bitter disappointment, ultimately crossing the line in eighth position ahead of Yu Kuai and Yu Kanemaru. And further down the field, we didn't see too much of them, but Thomas Ludi and Paul Wong had their own private battle in the Masters category, and it was Thomas Ludi who ended up winning out, and that has helped him extend his lead over Paul Wong in the Masters category. Well, absolutely breathless excitement at the end here. You never know. It's never over till it's over, and anything can happen in motorsport. And certainly the last lap of this race exemplifies that. Jack Doohan leading every single lap, looking absolutely serene out front, only to have a tyre failure on the very last lap of the race, and that saw him plummet down the order. And Joey Alders, who had been in second place for the entirety of the race, there to take advantage, only led one lap of the race, Joey Alders, but it was the only lap that mattered, the final lap, and that sees him win the race, and that means that Joey Alders now has 5 wins, and Jack Doohan has 5 wins in this F3 2020 Asian Championship. Nikita Mazepin finishing in second position. But really, I think that's it for Mazepin's championship hopes. It's now very much a 2-horse race between Joey Alders and Jack Doohan. And Joey Alders, his championship lead, a lot healthier now than it was at the beginning of this race, because Joey Alders now with 25 points to add to his 215, now sits on 240 points, whereas Jack Doohan now with just 204 after only finishing in 8th position after that puncture. So Joey Alders now really with the championship initiative. Well, very disappointing for Jack Doohan. He really had such momentum coming into this weekend after 3 wins in Sepang. It looked as if he was supremely confident. Joey Alders looked as if he was feeling the pressure a little bit last time out in Sepang, but the Dutch driver, a very great big grin on his face after that very, very unexpected win here this afternoon.
We're now having the podium ceremony for 2020 Formula 3 Asia Championship, certified by FIA Race 13. Congratulations to our top 3 drivers. Now here comes the winner of the race. Car number 23 from Black House Racing, Joey Alders. Second place, car number 3 from High Crank. Third place, car number 15 from Absolute Racing, Jamie Chadwick. Now it's my honor to invite Mr. Deputy Goti, General Manager of Top Speed Shanghai Limited, to present the trophy to the visitors. Now it's the award ceremony for Master Cup winners. Winner of the Master Cup, car number 9 from Black House Racing, Thomas Ludi. Second place, car number 44 from Zen Motorsport, Paul Wang. Now it's my honor to invite Mr. Xiao Song, Chief Engineer, International Technical Service of Giti to present the trophy to MasterCard. Now let's have group photo for MasterCard.
Well, after all that late drama here in race 13 at Buriram, it's Joey Alders who takes the victory ahead of Nikita Mazepin and Jamie Chadwick. So we'll hear from the top three drivers now in the post-race press conference. Joey Alders, the race winner, Nikita Mazepin in second place and Jamie Chadwick in third place. Joey Alders now with 240 points in the championship, ahead of Jack Doohan, now with just 204 after that puncture on the very last lap, dropping him to 8th position. So Joey Alders really with the initiative now in the championship. 36 points the lead between Joey Alders and Jack Doohan, and only 50 points still up for grabs over the next two races. Race 14 and 15 still to come tomorrow. Nikita Mazepin, after his second place finish, he moves on to 182 points, but he's now out of the championship reckoning. It's a straight fight between Joey Alders and Jack Doohan. Confirmation there of the final results. Joey Alders, his 5th win of the season. Mazepin in second. Jamie Chadwick in third position. Fittipaldi finishing 4th. Belov in 5th. Tommy Smith in 6th. Alessio De Leda finishing in 7th position. Jack Doohan classified 8th as he crossed the line, trundling very slowly over with his punctured right rear tyre. Bitter disappointment for the Australian, who had led every lap from pole position, was totally in control, and then ended up with a puncture on the very last lap of the race. Motorsport can be a cruel mistress sometimes, and Jack Doohan now knows that better than anyone. But if he didn't win today's race, he certainly won the hearts and minds of everyone watching. It was a consummate performance from the young Australian driver. He's only 17 years of age, and I'm sure he'll come back stronger. And of course, he's still very much in the title fight. Races 14 and 15 still to come tomorrow. Plenty of points up for grabs. All he has to do is win, so no pressure then. Joey Alders very much in the box seats for the championship, though, after inheriting that win today. 36 points now, his lead over Jack Doohan, the Dutch driver with a great big smile on his face after the race, and as well he might have one, because he would not have been expecting to win this race. Certainly when he started from 5th place, and then when he spent the whole race some 6 or 7 seconds behind Jack Doohan. Some lovely shots there of this Buriram International Circuit, a fantastic facility, Thailand's only Grade 1 FIA-rated circuit, built in 2014 and designed by the famous German architect Hermann Tilke, who's designed so many of the world's top racetracks in recent years, and indeed designed all the other circuits that feature on the 2020 F3 Asian calendar that we visited so far. The Sepang International Circuit near Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, the Dubai Autodrome, and the fantastic Yas Marina Circuit, both of those in the Emirates, and we visited those on back-to-back weekends in January. We've had 2 stops at Sepang, the first stop back in December last year for races 1, 2 and 3, where Joey Alders really began as he meant to go on with 2 wins and a 3rd place. The Dutchman has led this championship right from the very beginning, and he's certainly in the box seats now as we get to the business end of the championship. Round 1 in Sepang in December, followed by round 2 in Dubai in January, where it was uncharacteristically wet. Jack Doohan took his first win of the season in race 4. Joey Alders managed his 3rd win of the season in race 5. And Yu Kanemaru took an absolutely dominant win, some 20 seconds clear of the rest of the field in race 6 in a very uncharacteristically wet weekend in Dubai. Then there was no time for a rest. There was round 3 at the Yas Marina Circuit in Abu Dhabi just one weekend afterwards for races 7, 8 and 9. Nikita Mazepin took his first win in race 7, and now it's time to join the first 3 drivers in today's race at the press conference.
Welcome welcome to the press conference of round 5 in Buriram. Congratulations to the top 3 finishers. Joey, congratulations. Tell us about your race and also what is your strategy for the last 2. You've managed to extend the points lead by quite a bit. So yeah, tell us about that as well.
So starting P5, just the objective was to get Stuart as quickly as possible, to get into fight with him. Got to manage that quite quickly, but he had a mega start and he was gone from the first 2 laps. And then I just followed. We had the same lap times. I think all the laps were within 2/10 of each other, so really managing the race, try to keep it no mistakes. And then the final lap he got a puncture. That I think the most unfortunate thing to happen in motorsport. So it gives a bit of it relieves a little bit of pressure for the championship, but still two races to go. Anything can happen. So keep the focus, and then should be good.
All right, thank you very much. Nikita, congratulations, 2nd place, strong pace throughout the race. How was it towards the end dealing with the pressure from Jamie?
Yeah, it wasn't easy. I pushed quite hard in the beginning to catch Joey, and it was working. I was catching him, but I think it's been known throughout the whole championship that with these tyres it's quite difficult to predict what's going to happen degradation-wise, because you can't go off what happened last year or last race, because it always changes, which is interesting. So I hit the deck quite hard towards the end, and I could see that I think Joey was actually going quicker in the end rather than in the beginning, because my lap times were very consistent. So I just tried to avoid the mistakes and drive to the limit of the car. And last few laps, Jamie got really close, and we had an interesting battle on the last lap. Happily I came out on top. Interesting racing, and overall has been quite a good race after a difficult qualifying.
All right, thank you very much. Jamie, congratulations, 3rd place, becoming a regular up here, which is good to see. Tell us about your race and the last few laps with Nikita as well.
Yeah, I think from my side, starting 3rd, I kind of ideally wanted to have a better first few laps, but struggled quite a bit for pace. I think in the midst of the racing in the early laps, we didn't quite have the edge over the others, but came on really strong at the end. So we were able to sort of close up to Nikita and the guys in front in the second half of the race. Last lap I had a go to get past Nikita. Made it past, and then we had a bit of side-by-side into turn 4, which, we'll see. But I think, got lucky to be up here with Jack getting his puncture on the last lap. So I'll take it, but I think still a bit of work to do.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.